Okay, nako, magandang gabi ho sa inyo lahat. Welcome mo dito sa ating regular Tuesday program. Ito po ang Legal Advice Corner. Ako po si Sunny Laragan at kasama po natin ang ating pinakamamahal na abogada, ang ating advisor dito po sa ating segment. Walang iba kundi si Attorney DANNA Quinto. Attorney, magandang gabi, no? Magandang hapon, magandang gabi sa iyo.
Back home. So yes, here we go, another Tuesday, another summery evening dito sa UK. So yeah, it's not too bad eh. Hindi ulan. So andito naman tayo sa weather forecast before the class today. It's not too bad today. So happy days, happy summer day.
Yes, it's perfect actually today from morning till this time. And it's still sunny. Sun is out there, no? Shining at its best at the current time, no? Jamba, you're actually based in Bedford. How's the weather there? Dito, it's perfect. It's really sunny still. At this time, it's almost, 8:07. Pero maliwanag.
It's slowly starting to get dark. I don't know. It's because we're a bit west from you guys, but it's quite warm. It was sunny, not totally like super mainit, but it's been a good basta dry. I think we get very happy here. But
exactly. Yes, of course, diba?
Napakaligayahan natin sa weather dito.
Yes. Well, when you first come to this country, you would really wonder why these people, kapag there's a little bit of sun, they're outside, no? Talaga nagpapaaraw. Pero tayo, di ba mga Pinoy, we don't usually go out, we don't expose ourselves in the sun, no? Pero yung British people, they do. And you get to understand after so many years of living here, dahil yung laging malamig, kaya ganun, they miss the sun. Ayan.
Yeah, you only get so much of this of the sun period. So it's such a conversation piece. So yung mga kababayan namin, that's the reason why we're probably talking a lot about the weather, because it's such a conversation piece here, lalo na kung maganda yung weather. So, mababaw nga kaligayahan namin sa weather dito. So, yeah, pasensya nyo na.
Exacto. Okay, well, today, what are we gonna talk about? Ano ang yung i-discuss for today para sa ating mga kababayan?
Yeah, so segue tayo from kaligayahan to not so palatable circumstances about complaint and not satisfactory na situation. So I think I mentioned a few times, here in the UK, you don't go straight to court kung may problema. You're expected to write a letter before claim, and that's the official semantics namin. A letter before action or a letter before claim. Meron actually na protocol before that. We call it pre-action protocol, and there are technical requirements if ever you're going to write a letter before claim. So sounds daunting, no? The general advice is go seek your independent legal advice. However, saying that, may mga techniques na yung ginagamit namin when we draft letter before claims like this na I would like to impart today. So it's more of imparting yung knowledge, yung technique, how to write an effective, not necessarily a letter of complaint, but not necessarily a letter before claim, but a letter of complaint. So when you're in a similar situation, dissatisfied ka, you want something done, and you just want to say your piece, or it's a simpler situation that it's not so technical, you can actually use these techniques na ginagamit namin to effectively set out your position. And it's not as complicated, because what you do is you answer 5 questions. So if you're guided by this, you will find na mas magandang structure mo, mas napafollow yung sinasabi mo sa letter, and you will actually make it as quickly as usual. That's what I found for myself. If I want to write anything, especially sa situation na I want someone to understand my position, and I'm requesting or requiring someone to do something about it, this is a very effective way of setting it out. In a nutshell, you answer 5 questions, and it's very simple. You answer who, you answer when, you answer how, you answer what now, and then you answer by when. So when you draft your letter, well, let's go through one at a time. You answer who. Sino ka? Who are you in this situation? So you set out your role in the situation. You set out yung lead mo dun sa sinusulatan mo. Who are they? What's their position? What's their role? What's your relationship? Is it contractual? Is it domestic? Is it a business relationship? So you answer that question, who. And then next paragraph mo, you answer when. Ano nangyari? So when did these things happen? So set out mo yung chronology. So para magkwento ka, ito yung nangyari. So you introduce yourself, you introduce who they are, then you tell the story, yung narrative ng nangyari. Now you answer the third question. By how or how did it go wrong? So now you're approaching yung pinaka-crux ng story. So, how did it go wrong? Ano yung complaint mo? Ano yung basis ng complaint mo? And ano yung link nun dun sa two questions? So, who are they? Ano yung relationship mo? And then that basis, how did it go wrong? And when did it go wrong? And so, dun mo ililink sa paragraph, the third paragraph, of effectively setting out the problem. Now, the fourth question is, what now? So effectively, you're going to tell them what's the solution that you require. So either you want some monies back when a service wasn't provided very well, or you're asking an ex-partner to provide you a time of contact with your children. You're asking even just a friend for an explanation. So you set out, what now? What do you require now? What actions must be taken? What solutions are you looking at? How can they redress the situation? If you're going to ask for specific performance, you have to set it out there as well in clear, understood terms. And the last question, again, it sounds very, very simple, but actually, ito yung nakakalimutan. And actually, at times, I do as well. By when? It's quite important to put a deadline to it, kahit reply lang. And I'll tell you why. Because that will give you a certain alarm bells, or it's a certain trigger point, kung kailan mo i-chase yung kabila. It has to be a reasonable time depending sa kung gaano ka-complicated yung pinapagawa mo, gaano kahirap, kung explanation lang, or maybe 7 days is fine. If it's a bit more than that, 14 days, or 21 days, or 28 days, depend again on a case-to-case basis. But, however long it is, what it would give you is a particular time to say to the other side, I haven't heard from you. It's already 28th of July. Now it's no, 7 days from now. If I give Mr. Laragan, I need your explanation 7 days from now. So next week, pumbalik ko sa legal advice corner. I said to Mr. Laragan, actually, I haven't heard from you. I gave you until this date. Please, can you come back to me? Kung wala kang deadline, baka isipin ka, no, di mo naman ako binigyan ng deadline. So I didn't know when to come back to you. So it is actually really putting a paper trail. If you focus more, you're focusing the other side on a particular goal. So it sounds quite simple. It's a very simple topic today, but actually it can get quite useful for any situation, not necessarily legal. Sometimes if you just want something done, or if you want a letter to be sent out, just setting out your position. Gusto mo lang, you want to say your piece. So you answer those 5 questions. Who? When? How? What now? And by when? And that's all it is.
Parang ano yan, attorney, no? Parang kamukha yan ng nung pagka sa yung kapag gumagawa ka ng mga news articles, so news that go out for news. Who, when,
Exactly.
What? Ano nga uli yun? Ano nga uli yung sinabi mo?
Yeah, who,
Okay.
when,
When?
as in
How?
how did it go wrong?
Okay.
uh, what now? What do you want now?
Okay.
And by when? A deadline.
Ayun. Oh, okay.
So yes, I was a news writer when I was younger. So that's probably the reason why I use the same technique now. That I'm writing how I'm writing professionally, because it really focuses you not to go off tangent. It gives you concise structure. It gives you trigger questions to answer so that you don't have to forget about it. It's only 5 questions, so you hopefully you don't forget about the deadline. It's very important. Napakasimple naman yan. But actually, from my experience, it's so useful because it really focuses the other side, and it gives you kumbaga meron kang tinanong doon. Sabi ko, I did say to you, please come back to me within 7 days. So here I am again, pressing you for an answer.
Is there, excuse me, is there a standard or like a minimum time frame? Is 7 days, how would you call this? Feasible or acceptable? Or is there like, it has to be 15 days or 1 month? Or does it depend on the what you're after? Ano bang,
Exactly. It depends on what you're after. It depends on the strategy of the case. So there are instances where lawyers find themselves in the middle of the day, in the middle of a case where we want something done by the other side, and we have given a few hours notice because it may be reasonable, but it's also creating the right pressure. So it's a balance of both. You cannot appear unreasonable, so it has to be reasonable. But equally, you want to create a bit of pressure so that you can press them, you can compel them to action. 7 days is not a short time. It's not a long time. It may be unreasonable kung halimbawa sabi mo sa kanya, kumuha ka ng dokumento sa Pilipinas, na doon mo lang sa Pilipinas pwede kunin. It's very unreasonable because at the moment they can't fly to the Philippines. So it's a case-to-case basis. You have to look at the what now when you do your by when. So halimbawa gusto ko lang ng yes or no answer from the other side. And I know they have the answer. So I can give them, look, I need the answer by close of play or close of business today by 4 p.m. So I know they have it, and I can create the pressure. So that's fine. It's a case-to-case basis.
okay. Ano example? What could you give examples? For example, say kung 7 days lang. Ano bang mga medyo yung yes or no, would that be in a day's time? For example.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Or even in a few hours, ganyan, pa pwede yan?
Yeah. I've had instances where I would say, look, we've been talking about this for 2 weeks. We are at the final question. I need a yes or no by close of business today because I need to carry on with the case otherwise. A classic example for 7 days is halimbawa, somebody raised an invoice na bumili ng, halimbawa, it was a carpentry job. Nagawa naman yung trabaho. And yung invoice has been overdue na ng, say, 30 days. And sabi ng customer, no, thank you very much. It's perfect. So walang dispute about quality of work. So it's sobrang simple ng who, what happened, how it happened. So ginawa ko yung trabaho, sabi mo perfect, walang dispute, it's clear na overdue na, it's 30 days, so please can you pay me within 7 days? And I wait receipt of the money by 28th of July 2020. That is perfectly fine.
Okay, yan. Right. Ito ho ay legal advice corner ho, no. Doon ho sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon. We have sila Ira Lariosa. Okay, she's watching from Manchester, attorney, no?
Good evening, Ira. Hello.
May Tigbao Vargas is watching, sabi niya, good evening, watching from Devon, England. Ba? Iba't ibang parts ng...
Beautiful place. Good evening.
Hindi
Good
pa ako
evening.
napunta yata ng Devon. Napunta ka naman ng Devon?
Napadpad na po ako sa Cornwall, Devon area. Yeah.
All right. Hindi ko
It's
alam kung ano.
very
Really, we wanted to go to Cheddar because of the cheddar cheese, di ba? That's where it comes
yeah,
from.
that's right.
Oo, and
Yeah.
they put it in parang mga cave, yung mga cheese,
Yeah.
no? Hindi ko pa napunta, pero malayo because it takes us about
I,
4 or 5 hours from our place, eh.
is that
Uh,
Peak District or Devon po yun?
I'm sorry?
Ay, yung Peak District ba yun?
No,
The
Peak will
cheddar.
be, I think, the north, north,
Yung north
mga
yun,
nasa
yeah.
northern
That's
part.
right.
Uh,
Yeah.
Devon would be the southwest part, no? There's Wilma Paltao Crane. She's watching from Norwich, no?
Norwich.
Attorney. Oo.
Malapit kami. I think mas malapit kami sa'yo, Wilma from Norwich, yeah.
Mag,
Same goes, Mr. Sonny. It's just a bit of caveat as well. So they might say, I'll do this now. I'll do this letter of complaint for super
Oh.
complicated cases like medical negligence. Be very, very careful because when yung introduction ko, there are technical, on some cases, there are technical requirements dun sa letter before claim or letter of complaint. If you want to go legal, if it's likely to end up in court, it's best to, before you go to court, obviously you can do your letter of complaint first, but before you go to court, it's always good to seek independent legal advice, just in case you still have to do this formal letter before claiming. There are instances like, as I've said, medical negligence, masyadong technical yung kailangan mong ilagay doon. You have to put quantum of losses, you have to put cassation, so may mga legal submissions. But what I'm saying now is I'm trying to take yung techniques doon so that you can apply it in simpler cases or simpler na day-to-day life on how you can effectively set out your position with this information or with this technique.
Are you saying because there might be some? Are you saying to prepare, or is there because in terms of preparation, or are you saying because baka mapaso, or there might be a prescription, or hindi naman? You didn't know that.
It's more of technical. There are cases that are quite complicated, disputes that are quite complicated. So, you might think, oh, I'll write a letter of complaint to the doctor, and I'll go straight to the court. It's hindi mata-technical po kayo doon. So there are cases where you have to stop at a letter before claim, a formal letter before claim with technical requirements before you go. It's highly, highly recommended kasi they can look to you and say you haven't complied with the pre-action protocol. May protocol yung korte. How do you conduct yourself as a prospective claimant before issuing proceedings?
Okay, so yung ating mga viewers, attorney, if they have anything na pwede nilang i-consulta sa'yo, they can of course call you, no? Para mabigyan nyo ng advice on what best, no, to do. If they with this mga letters, can they consult you straight away, or can?
Yeah, they consult straight away. This is more of parang ammunition on day-to-day, just in case they want to ask someone, a simple matter. But with with most legal cases, before you go to court, still please get independent legal advice. You can call us. We do free 30-minute consultation anyway. And from there we can give you the overview on what you need to do, and sometimes we may say, look, you can't just do a fairly simple letter of complaint here. It has to be a technical letter before claim with the following information or legal submissions. So yun yung sinasabi ko. This is for mostly general information, but do call still, especially before issuing court proceedings. You have to be able to comply with a pre-action protocol, which means basically having a dialogue with the other side.
Ano tawag mo dun?
Pre-action
Pre-action.
protocol. Pre-action protocol. It's an official name. Hindi ko lang po tawag dyan. It's an official lingo sa
pre-action. How do you call it again?
Pre-action protocol. So bago yung court action, there's a protocol, yung civil procedure rules, It's actually a rule. It's inside one of those big books that we lawyers have to follow. And that, by the time na sinabi namin sa kliyente yun, obviously we tried setting it out to them in a user-friendly way. But as for your information, there are rules on how to conduct yourself as a prospective claimant or as a prospective defendant before you actually go through to a court proceedings, and you have to do that. Otherwise, potentially, pwede kayong ma-penalize sa cost.
Ayan. Alam nyo, nagugulat ako. Talagang totally wala tayong mga ideas dito sa batas. And by way of what you're doing, attorney, no, ini-explain mo sa amin unti-unti, no? At little by little, we're getting ideas. Dahil dati totally wala kaming ideas. Pagka nagkukwento ka, okay yun, parang mabigat yung sinasabi ni attorney, no? Although simple, you try to simplify it in the...
Diba? In a nutshell, don't just go to court. Don't just go to court straight away. You have to seek independent legal advice and sabi mo, bakit hindi ako pwede pupunta sa korte? Kasi may expectation yung korte kung paano ka mag-behave before going to court. If you don't do that, pwede kang sabihin ng korte, you're penalized. I'm gonna give you a cost penalty. So that's the most important thing that you need to know.
So, teka muna, if you wanna file an action or do something, ito muna, attorney, ang dapat gawin? Ganun ba?
Exactly. A pre-action protocol. Yeah, pre-action na dialogue.
In any case yan, in any case, for example, nag-away yung magkapitbahay, rather than go to court first, magkaka-demand, magle-letter muna ako sa kanya? Ganun ba yun?
Absolutely. Absolutely very prudent. Kasi kami mga lawyers, if somebody goes straight to court, for me, I really press on that as a technical point to the judge. I would say, kung makipag-usap lang sila sa amin, we would not have ended up here, and we would not have incurred all this cost, so it would open up the other side on a cost penalty. So yun yung, kumbaga, that's when sometimes pwede kang i-technical ng kabila. Because you haven't followed the procedures. Obviously, kung sasabihin nila, hindi litigant in person ka, wala kang abogado, the court would still say to you, the likelihood na gagawin, the likely thing that the court would do is probably sabihin, okay, we have to do probably a mediation during the court proceeding. But kung may abogado ka, and that's the reason why I'm saying, para hindi ka ma-expose dun sa problema na yun, do get legal advice because of this particular point about pre-action conduct. It's called pre-action conduct. And titingnan nyo ng korte, so isipin mo lang, titingnan nyo ng korte kung ano yung nangyari sa kontrata, titingnan nyo ng korte kung ano yung nangyari sa proceeding. Actually, no, the court will actually look at your pre-action conduct. And sometimes that's our way of scoring brownie points before proceedings. So we behave as reasonable as possible, and we give cost threats to the other side and say, we'll offer you this, if you don't take this, we're going to ask the court to look at the pre-action conduct so that the court will give you the maximum cost penalty. There's a lot of strategy during pre-action conduct.
Ngayon ko lang narinig yung litigant in person. Meron bang mga ganun? And in what instances probably na po pwedeng gawin yun? Pero syempre, of course, it would probably work to your disadvantage kung you don't know the law and you become, do it as a litigant in person. Ano yan? Ngayon ko lang narinig yan. Litigant in person? Yung walang abogado, pupunta lang, ganun?
Yeah, a litigant in person. Mas dumadami na po ever since naging narrow yung pag-grant nila ng legal aid. Yung para sa atin is free, yung gobyerno yung nagbabayad because you can't afford it. Very, very rare sa civil na makakuha ng legal aid. So what tend to happen in the past few years is with simpler cases, people tried litigating on their own, which sometimes is okay kung hindi ganun ka-technical yung situation. But sometimes it really is not, it would really work to your disadvantage. And the court would actually tell you that and say, I would have to tell the other side that may duty ako not to put the other side on an equal footing. It's a bit weird, no? Parang, o Dana, kailangan mo pala suluit yung kabila. Up to a point, I would have to tell them, I would have to give them notice that this case is highly technical and they really need to get independently their own solicitor, their own lawyer to advance their position because they can get into technical difficulties. And what tend to happen is that first hearing pa lang, like case management hearing pa lang, the court will actually say to them, look, you really need to get legal advice because this is not something that you would like to do as a litigant person. There are cases, similar cases, yung sinabi ko, invoice, parang it's very simple. Ginawa yung trabaho, walang reklamo sa trabaho. It's a very simple contractual breach. Ginawa niya yung trabaho, so he can, that's fine. That is probably you can do that on your own. And small claims. So small claims is 10,000 below. So most, the reason why the court actually made it as small claims na yung arena na yun is for people na litigant person to feel a bit more comfortable kasi walang cost na ano doon. So below 10,000 pounds, if you lose, you don't have to pay the other side's cost. Pero ito yung technicality na not if you breach, if you behave so unreasonably, sobrang tigas ng ulo mo sa pre-action stage, and ni-raise ng kabila yon, even small claims, akala mo immune ka, small claims, so hindi ako magbabayad kahit matalo ako. Actually, pwede ka magbayad pa rin under a certain rule. May maliit na rule andun sa libro namin. So small claims, pag nag-behave ka unreasonably sa pre-action conduct, the court can still penalize you for costs. So that's one thing I don't think a lot of litigants in person know, and that's the reason why we're trying to impart knowledge about writing properly a letter and seeking advice regarding letter before claim and behaving reasonably during pre-action stage.
Ayan, so meron tayong nalaman, no, attorney, no? Meron din pala pagka if you behave, may behavior pa pala yan, no? Na
conduct, if you are unreasonable.
Okay.
If you are so unreasonable na inoferan ka na ng maayos or you just don't want to engage. Yung halimbawa sabi ng other side, sige nga, bigay mo nga yung evidence, but you still, sabi mo, ay, ayoko, bahala ka, hindi ko bibigay yung evidence. That's an unreasonable behavior. And then when you go to court, I can raise that and I would say, okay, small claims tayo, pero the reason why hindi namin siya binayaran is hindi niya binigay yung ebidensya. So, I'm gonna ask the court to penalize you for cost kahit nasa small claims tayo. So that's one thing na you really have to think about. In a nutshell, there is a pre-action stage and you have to conduct yourself as reasonable as possible, whether by your actions or by your letter. So that's the summary of it.
Wow, thank you very much. We are actually empowered, no, little by little, no. Droplets and ano ba yan? Di ba? Trickle. Oo, biglang eventually ma-i-imbibe mo yan, malalaman natin. I had about a couple of questions, hindi ko na na may itatanong, but next week ko na itatanong yan, attorney, no? So, sa kanila pwedeng ma-contact? Saan ba pwedeng ma-contact ang ikaw? Paano ka ba nila ma-contact?
Yeah, that's my email there, d.quinto@tvsolicitors.com. That's our main office number, but I'm going to give you my direct dial as well. It's 01234-225-188. You can ring that number, but tayo naman, so you can ring me at my direct dial, 01234-225-188. And we do try to help, we do try to give the advice within the free 30-minute period. Hindi namin kayo bibitinan doon. Pag alam namin yung sagot, and if the advice can be given within the free 30-minute period, it will be given. if it needs more than, tech, that is already an indication it's a complicated case. But most of the time, you'll get a very good overview of your case within 30 minutes.
Okay. Attorney, ano nga ulit? 01234-225?
188.
188, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, tama yan. 188. Okay, so ito ay flash lang natin, no? Parang naman ganun, malaman nila. So, yeah, 01234-225-188. Hindi napakahirap pong makalimutan yan, no? 01234, no? 225-188. You can come back naman to watch the show in case na gusto niyang kontakin si attorney. Nasa YouTube naman yan at nasa Facebook Live ho natin. Naka-archive. Okay, attorney, baka may mga messages ka or any shoutouts. Go ahead, no?
Oh yeah, just want to say, from where I grew up, I think it's Tinalak Festival, so I think they have a huge, well, not now, social distancing, but it's a massive celebration normally there. So happy Tinalak sa South Cotabato. Apart from that, keep safe still, everyone. And yeah, final comments, sort of a reminder. Pre-action period, there is such a thing, and do seek legal advice, but in any event, be reasonable by letter or by action.
Okay, thank you very much. Next week, yung mga tanong ho ninyo, direkta ho natin itatanong na kay attorney. Siguro, maraming salamat, attorney, no? Take care, and till next time, keep well and safe always. COVID period pa rin ngayon, hindi pa ganun kaluwag, no? O sige, you take care, and we'll see you again. Bye.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye. Thank you.
May problema ka ba sa landlord mo? Baka i-evict ka na ni Kuya. May problema sa mga kapitbahay, sa trabaho. O kaya naman kay Mister o kay Mrs. Away tungkol sa mana, mga may utang, mga aksidente, daing o laban sa ospital or sa NHS, harassment, o baka naman may stalker ka na gusto mong ireklamo. Punta na sa DV Solicitors para matulungan ka pagdating sa mga litigations at iba pang mga legal concerns. DV Solicitors at Mayfair House, 11 Lurk Street, Bedford, MK40 3HZ. Tumawag sa 01234-350-244 or 01234-225-188 o kaya naman mag-email sa d.quinto@dvsolicitors.com. Visit our website at www.dvsolicitors.com.